Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're breaking down an absolute masterclass in car air conditioning mechanics. You know that feeling when you're stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic on a sweltering day and your AC just gives up? Yeah, it's the absolute worst. So we're going to take you from the core anatomy of how these systems actually cool your car, right down to the pro-level troubleshooting secrets that master mechanics use to get them running again. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the core AC components, then track the journey of AC gas. After that, we'll dive into diagnosing compressor failures, checking for system leaks, and finally, refilling gas the right way. Let's jump right in. Section 1. Core AC components, the true building blocks of your system. Okay, let's look at the physical hardware first. Every single car AC system relies on 4 fundamental parts working in perfect harmony, literally stretching from your front bumper straight into your dashboard. First, right at the front of the car, is the condenser. It actually uses the wind from driving on the highway, plus some cooling fans, to chill things down. Then, you've got the compressor. This is the real heavy lifter, driven directly by your engine's crankshaft. Next up is the expansion valve. It's tiny, but it acts as a vital bottleneck that slows down high-pressure gas using what's called a Venturi effect. And finally, the cooling coil. This guy sits tucked away inside the cabin, doing the actual job of absorbing heat. Now, a professional mechanic doesn't just guess what's going on. They can literally read the physical lines. Visually, you can instantly tell the flow of the entire system just by looking at the thickness of 2 distinct pipes under the hood. You've got your high-pressure pipe, that's a noticeably thinner pipe carrying highly pressurized, tightly squeezed gas straight from the compressor to the condenser. Then there's the low-pressure pipe. This one is much thicker, and its job is to return the slowed, relaxed gas back to the compressor to restart the cycle. It's essentially a visual map of the pressure cycle, right there in the engine bay. And this brings up a super common misconception. People usually think the fan blowing in their face is what's actually creating the cold. Actually, scratch that, it's not. Think of the blower and the cooling coil just like a household water cooler. The coil itself gets freezing cold completely on its own. The blower fan, it's just a motor. Its only job is to aggressively push that cabin air through the freezing coil and into your face. The physical cooling and the airflow are 2 entirely separate things. Moving on to Section 2. The journey of AC gas. Let's track exactly what's flowing through those thick and thin pipes we just talked about. The absolute lifeblood of this entire system is Freon gas. It's a highly specialized chemical refrigerant, and its primary natural property is to act like a giant sponge for heat. It absorbs and literally sections heat right out of its surrounding environment. Your car's AC doesn't strictly make cold air, it removes heat using this incredible gas. So here is the step-by-step thermodynamic journey that turns your engine's power into a freezing cabin. Step 1, the compressor violently squeezes the Freon, creating massive high pressure and heat. Step 2, this hot pressurized gas is pushed to the condenser, where outside highway air cools it down. Step 3, it hits the expansion valve. This acts as a bottleneck, rapidly slamming the brakes on that pressure. And step 4, as that slowed gas enters the cooling coil inside your dash, it rapidly expands and absorbs all that cabin heat. Boom. Freezing cold air. But what happens when you crank the dial and absolutely nothing happens? That brings us to Section 3, diagnosing compressor failures. If a customer complains their AC is totally dead, why shouldn't a mechanic check the fuses and relays first? I mean, it sounds so counterintuitive, right? Why not start with the electrical box? Well, diving into the fuse box first actually wastes a ton of valuable diagnostic time. Here's what the pros actually do. First, they leave the engine running. Second, they bypass that fuse box entirely. Third, they run a direct positive wire straight from the battery down to the compressor. Why? They're checking to see if the internal magnetic pulley engages and starts spinning. By shooting direct battery power to it, you instantly know if the compressor's internal magnet is dead. If it clicks and spins, great, the compressor's fine. Go check the fuses. If it doesn't, you just skipped hours of needless electrical testing. But if you find out it is broken, here's an absolute golden rule. Never fully open or dismantle the main block of a broken compressor. Seriously, don't do it. The specialized internal gaskets and specific oils are simply not available in the aftermarket. If you tear into it, it's a dead end. So you really only have 2 choices. You either replace that external magnet or you swap out the entire unit. Okay, let's jump to Section 4, checking for system leaks. Picture this. What if the mechanic's pressure meter shows the system is completely 100% full, but the car still isn't blowing cold air?
This is exactly where amateur mechanics get totally stumped, and they end up making things way worse by trying to aggressively force more gas into an already pressurized system.
Here is the trick. The pressure meter only measures raw physical pressure. It has absolutely no idea what type of gas is inside those pipes. Let's say a pipe was disconnected earlier. The system might be full of completely worthless ambient oxygen instead of Freon. If ordinary oxygen gets trapped in those pipes, sure, the meter reads full pressure. But oxygen can't absorb heat like Freon does, which means zero cooling for the driver. To fix this, a pro will hook up a specialized vacuum pump to literally suck all that oxygen out, pulling the internal pressure all the way down into the negative. And then they wait precisely 30 minutes. Why exactly 30 minutes? Because if that negative vacuum pressure slowly creeps back up to zero, it means outside oxygen is sneaking back in through a microscopic leak somewhere. And how do mechanics find this invisible leak? They use a brilliantly low-tech method. They inject reverse air pressure into the system and then wipe a simple shampoo and water mix over all the joints and welds, just watching for bubbles. Wherever they see bubbles blowing up, they've found the leak. It's completely definitive. Finally, Section 5, refilling gas the right way. Once that leak is welded and the system is oxygen-free, it's time to refill. Our source uses an absolutely brilliant everyday analogy for this. Quote, if your capacity is 4 rotis or pieces of bread and you are forced to eat 8, what happens? You feel sick and bloated, right? Well, the exact same thing happens to an AC compressor when you overfill it with gas. Overpressurizing doesn't magically make the air colder, it violently suffocates and destroys the compressor under extreme mechanical load. You have to follow the math here. Every single vehicle has a highly specific gas limit. For example, a small hatchback like a Maruti Swift takes about 450 milliliters of gas, but a large SUV like a Mahindra Scorpio needs roughly 700 to 900 milliliters. This limit is usually printed right on a sticker beneath the hood, and ignoring it is a guaranteed ticket to mechanical failure. So, armed with this breakdown, next time your car blows warm air on a hot summer day, will you know if it's a dead magnetic clutch, an oxygen-filled pipe, or an overstuffed compressor? You are no longer at the mercy of guesswork. You now actually understand the exact anatomy and diagnostic logic of your vehicle's cooling system. Thanks for tuning into this explainer, and stay curious.